Hello, people of YouTube. It's Deepak here, and welcome to the DCS news for the 12th of July, 2025. I hope you all enjoyed that, my most recent video, all about the A10C2 tank killer. This time we took a little bit of a look at the Scorpion helmet-mounted queuing system, a very, very useful and advanced tool for that aircraft. Lots of fun stuff we can do there, and actually, it has a couple of tricks with regards to the Mavericks. But because we haven't covered the Mavericks yet, I'll cover that when the time comes. Probably next week, what I'll cover will be the TAD, because I think that's the next important sensor that we should go over, and then we'll dive into weapons. Before a little bit later on, we'll take a look at the kind of self-protection systems and the data link as well will be major systems for us to review. Welcome to the street, Tea Kettle Barbecue, Tog. I hope it was listed. It was listed for me at least. Angelo, welcome. Glad to have you aboard there. Tech Gaming 45, Mr. Yeti, JP Gibbons, Fishy's Canal, Pink Floyd. It is indeed DCS and coffee time, as it often is. Very, very nice to have you all aboard today. Thank you for joining. Beef Supreme, you actually caught it on time as well. Fantastic. We got a lot of people joining for the first time. If you haven't already, I'm going to put my little reminder in just now. Please subscribe, like, and comment. It's a really big help to me and to the channel. And this week, we don't have John Bloor just now, although he might drop in a moment. He might be actually joining us in session because he's been away somewhere. So let's jump into doing the news in any case. I actually just very quickly need to switch around my Chrome, and for now I will hide John because I don't actually have him yet. But yes, he may well turn up shortly. But anyway, let's get started with what we have on here just now. Dear fighter pilots, partners, and friends, we still have the clock ticking on the 2025 summer sale. Now, this ends on the 13th of July, which at the time of filming is tomorrow. So be aware that at 1500 GMT, that's going to come to an end. Fill your hangars with new aircraft, terrains, campaigns, and important add-ons at great savings. And actually, I like very much that we have this image of the GF-17 straight up for the summer sale, because that is one of my favourite aircraft. A very, very nice machine. And yet, Eagle say now is the time to secure hallmark modules such as the F-16C Viper, FA-18C, A-10C2 Tank Killer, which I'm currently doing my series on, H-64D, F-14 Tomcat, and the Supercarrier is up to 50% off. Please enjoy these amazing savings while you still can. The DCS Summer Sale 2025 ends on the 13th of July 2025 at 1500 GMT. So, there you go. Exciting times indeed. Tog, wait, you're telling me that John Bloor is negligent on his duties today? Shameful. Shameful.
How dare
Well,
whoever said that?
Yes, you're now audible. Let me make you visible as well. Welcome to the stream, sir. I believe you've been under the hammer when it comes to trying to get here in time. Very exciting.
Yeah. If they talk about being negligent, we were pedal to the metal at 60 miles an hour in a Citroen C1 to get here.
Pedal to the metal, doing exactly 69.5 miles per hour on the motorway.
Per hour, exactly. Yeah. So yes. We got back just in time. So I made sure to come back here. So you have to put up with me now. So
yes,
yeah.
I'm very, very happy to have you aboard. I'm glad that you made it. And actually, yes, Mr. Yeti, importantly, pointing out that we do have a very, very tasty Daddy Wags video to take a little look at.
We do. Wonder if he's lurking. He does lurk sometimes, doesn't he? He'll pop up if we have.
He does occasionally lurk.
Yeah, it's a bit like, is it if you say Biggie Smalls 3 times into the mirror? Was that South Park? If you say Biggie Smalls 3 times, he appears behind you and starts shooting up your ring.
Biggie Smalls.
Remember that?
I don't.
Biggie Smalls.
I don't know that one.
Notorious B.I.G. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yes.
There was a what do you call it? A South Park episode. If you said his name 3 times, he would appear. I'm hoping
Yes.
if you just say Wags 3 times, it'll appear. So who knows?
We also have here Channel Right asking, is it warm in Sweden today? And the answer is it was earlier, but it's now been raining.
Oh, lush.
So, but yeah, it was very, very toasty a little bit earlier on.
Mm.
I don't know what it is like in Englandshire just now.
It is very hot. I don't know what the Celsius is. It was at least 31 to 32 earlier, and it's quite high humidity. So, yeah, that's
What's
the
that
only
in
thing.
gas mark?
Gas mark. It's what, as I say in bottom. It's for a scale of 1 to 10. It's bicycle clip time.
Yes. Nice.
Yeah.
Robbie
yes,
Hobby,
indeed.
welcome to the stream. Pink Floyd, it is stinky hot in Canada. Mr. Yeti, sorry, also saying very hot. Yeah, I think earlier in the day it was like 26, 27 here. But
And
now it's been raining and it's cooled.
the other thing to our guys stateside is over here, at least in the UK, there's not a lot of aircon, at least from a
None in Sweden.
what do you call it? Yeah, like maybe like businesses, commercial properties have aircon, but it's not really very common for like domestic. So yeah, when they're like, "Oh, really? Have you not got aircon?" It's like, nope.
I have
We have
these
fans.
modern conveniences called windows, and when it gets very, very warm, I open them.
Yes, exactly. And as what it wouldn't be tradition if British people didn't complain about the weather, whether it's too hot or too wet or too cold. So, it's just what we do.
Well, I've had all of that in the one day, so it's good fun.
Yeah.
Stuart
Where were
McLean,
you
good
in
day,
the
haters.
Where were you in the newsletter as I joined? I think
Oh,
you just
literally at the
started.
beginning. So
Oh,
the
fantastic.
only thing I've talked about so far is the summer sale, so don't you worry.
Mm. Mm.
So yes, let's jump. Speaking of that, let's jump back into it. I was just telling everybody that I'm very, very happy to see that the JF-17 is the poster boy for the summer sale. That's very, very nice to see. Very testy. I do
Is
like
that
a
the
bit of that.
two like their versions of the Mavericks or slams or whatever you want to call it? Like have they got
No.
infrared missiles there, or what are they?
Oh, sorry. Actually, yes. I believe you're right. I forget what those ones are called, but check out my channel because I have a video on how to use them.
Yeah,
and they're quite
I love
good.
it. Your upselling is top tier. You should work in like Lush or the Warhammer shop because they're very good at that sort of stuff.
I happen to have a playlist all about the Jeffrey. You should go watch it now. Actually,
should,
no, not
absolutely.
now. Watch us.
Yes,
We're way more
yeah,
important.
Exactly.
So yes, in any case, the next one is actually the SPO-15 Berlioza for the MiG-29A Fulcrum. Actually, sorry, before I do that, I've missed something important. Where is it they actually tell us? Yes, here we go. We are pleased to inform you that the early access launch is planned for September 2025. This is for the MiG-29A.
Wow.
So this is very, very exciting. It's not going to be all that long.
Temper your expectations, I would say to people, because they've said that before, and then something happens. Like I remember with everyone got very upset when the Phantom was delayed. It's planned. Keep that in mind. There's asterisks, and I mean that, and not in a cynical way. I mean that actually in a you just never know what gets thrown up. Things definitely get what's the word, stoppers, so to speak. So
much like owning a cat or having children, you don't know what's going to be thrown up.
Exactly. I like it.
So, the SPO-15LM for the DCS MiG-29A Fulcrum module is built using a new physics-based approach. The system stimulates a more realistic signal environment in order to ensure the most realistic behavior, algorithms, and limitations of the modeled SPO-15LM RWR system. So I'm going to interject here a little thing that I'm wondering how much of this is based on Heatblur's radar emitter database that they contributed, because it kind of sounds like it might be, and that's a good thing.
Well, even if there's no Heatblur code in it, they've definitely upped their game because of what Heatblur has been working on.
Yeah.
Also, I don't know if you remember on the video for the the Super Saber, but their RWR was really cool as
I
well,
do
like an
remember.
old oscilloscope. And so it looks like all of them are kind of, whether there's some stuff, I don't know what's in the SDK, but whether there's been some kind of information generally shared, or they've got a better understanding now of how to model this stuff, because they're kind of doing it more. It's almost like not physical based rendering, but they're actually
Well,
not
they
just.
literally say physics-based approach to
Yeah, there
modeling
you
it.
go. Because there's two ways you can approach it, right? And this is telling everyone how to suck eggs, but you can approach it in, are you going to simulate the effects of something,
Yeah.
or are you going to simulate the mechanism of something? And so probably with a lot of EW stuff, if we're ever going to get like things like jammers, they're probably just modeling the effect rather than like how it actually works.
Yeah.
Because like electronic warfare is like super classified. That is stuff you don't want to mess around with. But like this, the SPO is quite an old system. They probably have a lot more documentation on it, and yeah, they're able to kind
And it
of
was widely
really get into.
exported.
Yeah, and they're much more easier for them to get into the weeds about it, because there's a bit more documentation, all that kind of stuff. I read through this yesterday or the day before, whenever this came out, and I was really impressed with the fact that they said that it's not only just like, it's not like the aircraft just has cones sticking out, but the way that the different RDVRs are working in tandem, like it works things out based upon like what signal one's getting and then the other, and it kind of uses extrapolation based on like signal strengths. I'll let you kind of get into the weeds of it all, but it's really fascinating stuff.
It is very, very cool. And yet, they're going to go into a little bit of that detail in this development update here. Mr. Yeti was asking, I've had a hunt for MiG-29 videos from Flight Sim Expo as it was being demoed on the Wing stand. Did anyone
Mm.
see it? And now I'm going to sneeze. Or maybe I'm not. As is
That's the
often the
worst
case.
ever feeling. Yeah, it's a horrible feeling.
There we go. John got to hear it, but I muted it for the stream.
He went,
Nice.
achoo.
Oh, this is live television, kids. This is what you get to enjoy. Anyway, the new system comes with a radar database containing signatures and behaviors for each radar system in the game, including details like carrier frequency, waveform type, and if applicable, pulse, train, pattern for different operational modes, antenna and transmitter properties, search strategy depending on range and altitude of the target, signal variability and CCM used, etc. All of this information is used in two ways: to calculate accurate power density at the receiving antenna at each time step, taking into account the physical properties of the signal and the directivity pattern of the transmitter antenna, and to permit realistic modeling of the RWR system itself. So yeah, in short, this is actually being used to control whether or not you see something in the first place. And a very important thing to note, I'm sure many of you are already aware of this, but the range at which your RWR will pick up a radar is greater than the range at which that radar itself will detect you. Which is very, very handy. So, RWRs are actually fantastic for situational awareness and allowing you to avoid radar systems entirely. The range at which you first start getting pinged is, beyond the point they can actually resolve you.
Yeah.
On the receiving end, the antenna and receiver properties are similarly taken into account in order to obtain a physically accurate estimate of received power. Each antenna and receiver channel is processed independently. This is critical for accurate modeling of the Soviet aircraft RWR systems, as they do not use amplitude comparison to estimate emitter azimuth. Instead, each of the azimuth channels on the display corresponds to its own set of antenna, a receiver, and initial processing hardware. As a result, the coverage isn't always 360 degrees. The antenna beam width varies with frequency, and the antenna gain varies with azimuth and elevation, which causes the detection range and signal power for each emitter to vary not just with radar type and work mode, blah, 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 blah. I lost where the bracket was, but also with orientation of the aircraft. The emitting antenna directivity patterns are also simulated, which also means that at low distance and high transmitting power, side lobes will be picked up and head-on emissions will bleed into receiving antenna side and back lobes, blinding the device. Conversely, at low signal power, the system develops blind zones all around the aircraft, and the RWR might fail to pick up the main lobes unless it passes directly over it. The unusual antenna coverage of the SPO-15 in particular requires the pilot to be aware of those blind zones during combat. This is something that I always kind of suspected but didn't know when it came to the Soviet-style detectors. So you in effect have multiple RWRs, rather than like in a Western-style system where it's a centralized processing unit. This is all just like literally the LED is blinking because that whole circuit got illuminated, which is kind of interesting.
It sounds like the most of the interpolation, because you've obviously got that single display, but you've obviously got the coverages, because on that, if it's anything like the one that we've already got, you've got the little MiG-21 logo, haven't you? And it kind of points, it has the little dots that kind of point towards each
So
one
you have
and signal strength.
azimuth, but then you also have elevation hemisphere as well.
Yeah, and it's so the only thing it's kind of interpolating is it's saying this antenna is getting this is how I'm seeing it. This antenna is getting the strongest return. So this is the one I'm going to kind of not prioritize, but this is why I'm telling you it's coming from this antenna at least. So that's why it's then that because it has like is it every 30 degrees, if I remember rightly? I'd have to look at the picture of the.
I can't quite remember.
RWR.
As I recall, you've got lights for the azimuth.
Dots,
you've got the lights for top and bottom. You've got light for lock on. I guess continuous wave in most cases, and then you've got a series of type lights across the bottom as well.
Yeah, and then there's a circular bar, isn't it? It goes strength. Am I right? Like a circular round thing. It tells you signal strength. I'm pretty sure there's one that tells you, because that's one thing that's kind of cool about that stuff.
Yeah, you might be right. I can't quite remember.
Let me get a picture up of this.
Yeah, exactly. Does someone have an image of the SPO-15 LM?
Yeah, here you go. I've just got like a picture someone's printed off. It's actually a patch. That's kind of. Let me find a better picture. Here you go. Is one even with a description. Ironically, it's on the War Thunder.
That's right. You were exactly correct. So it has this kind of circular energy level doodah. Oh,
yeah. Oh, it's going to start playing some stuff.
It's going to play a video.
So each of those is telling you like 10, 30, 50, 90.
Yeah.
And then that bar is telling you signal strength. The B and the H, or it looks like a B and H, is whether it's above or below. And then those ones at the bottom are telling you what type. Yeah, so the N looking
big shout outs to MD44, whose YouTube video it is that I'm borrowing for these purposes. He only has 86 subscribers, so go smash that button and tell him that I sent you.
So those bottom bars are the very bottom. The far left one, which is like an N, it looks like a Cyrillic N. That's airborne. So that one's lit up as airborne. The next one, it's like long range. Probably sounds like some sort of EWR. The next one up there, and there's medium range. The next one after that, short range. The second from right is early warning, and the very last one, which is what's lit up on your picture, that's AWACS. So that's telling you it's figuring out stuff from probably what's loaded into the system, but also the type of signal it's getting.
And then the red circle that's kind of behind the MiG-21 sort of silhouette, that whole thing flashes red when it actually detects continuous wave, which would usually indicate a launch. We've got Oz Dead Meat asking which light signifies pucker factor. I would say it's that one.
Yeah, the big red surround around the MiG-21, if that starts flashing or going solid, that's pucker factor.
Yeah, that's a bad type. Osprey, welcome to the stream. Icarus I, welcome. Venom Cinematic. Whoa, look at the famous people.
Amazing.
Monday's off. Good evening, all. Yes. Oh, yes, in any case, that's a nice little demonstration of that. The improved simulation of signal propagation together with attached signal signature allow for accurate modelling of the signal processing algorithms used by the system. The SPO-15 LM, while being an analog system, performs many tasks that are normally relegated to digital systems, and some of those analog systems use vastly different approaches compared to early Western systems, which leads to numerous quirks and limitations that are now accurately replicated. The most obvious, as already described, is how the threat azimuth is determined. The airspace around the aircraft is divided into 8 azimuth channels, covered by 10 azimuth antennas, with notably the two forward-facing antennas furthest off nose in each side merged into a single processing channel, and two elevation channels covered by the two elevation antennas. Each of these channels is processed separately with a fixed signal power threshold to activate the channel. The only time the signals are combined is to measure the signal power for the power level display, which now shows the actual signal power in 2 decibel increments from threshold, rather than a simple function of range. And for the target priority algorithm, lack of combined processing also means that coverage of each channel will vary with emitter power and frequency. The system features compensation systems, but they are crude, and their effectiveness varies with signal power. The identification and target priority circuits also process each channel separately, meaning that in rare cases the same threat might even be interpreted differently in 2 neighbouring channels, and the 2 threats on opposite azimuths might both be interpreted as a single main threat if the signals sync up. That's kind of cool. These are nice details.
That's very cool. Some weirdness, which is interesting. And you can tell they do really want to like get this right, even this little system. It'd be cool. This system actually was or a version of the SPO-15 was actually in the Hind, the P version that we've got. In fact, more common than the little, the little bottle cap, the Dr. Pepper bottle cap. This was actually more common in the Hind. So there's a chance. I don't want to put any words, but there's a chance that if they're going to model this as accurate as they are, we might get a version of this. It may not be the LM, or maybe it's a different version, but like we might get a version of this in the Hind, which would be really cool. And I always think they wouldn't allow this level of like. Imagine, I try and see it this way. Imagine you're like the head of a company, and someone's like, we want to like model this RWR like with like infinite detail. Now, there's a chance that like whoever's in charge, whether it's Nick Grays or Wags or whoever it is, that they're going to be like, yeah, sure, just go for it because we love accuracy, and I'm sure that's the level. But there's also going to be a bit of them going, well, how can we then use this technology? Return? Yeah, how can we then use this on this and then use this on this? Because I always think you never want to keep making the same technology over and over again if you can use stuff.
Yes.
So
very much so. Yeah. Thank you very much, Frantic Stone, for the very generous donation. That's
oh, it's Frantic.
Very yeah, he's with us. He is among us. Boom,
my
boom,
plums
boom.
Are very
I
good.
want you in my room.
Is he quoting Venga Boys?
Yes, he is.
Venga Boys, isn't it?
Oh dear.
Oh crikey.
John, how's your plums, son?
Yeah, my plums are good at the moment. A little bit hot, a little bit sweaty. I won't lie, I've been sat in the car for most of the time, so I'll give you that mental image. But yeah, they're all right.
And we've got Icarus Eye. Has the pink fluffy thing on the back of Deepak's chair been discussed yet? Well.
What's that?
Well. There you go. See what you've done?
Right, now what you need to do is you need to get Track IR to track that thing, or Open Track, and then every time you pull one of those, it like extends the flaps or something like that, or
deploy flares.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty good. It is not, in fact, a bra, although it maybe could cover one. Anyway, Frantic Stone, it's his cape. He's going to watch Superman after this. Oh, man.
Amazing.
Yes, this is Deepak. Very nice. Tog, my daughter, has one of those. Oh, dear. Anyway, let's continue. The identification process involves measuring the repetition time and pulse width of the signal and sorting it into very broad PRF PW bins. The measurement of PRT can fail if it's not stable, making some radars impossible to identify. The presence of multiple emitters in the same sector will also interfere with the process. Even if this part succeeds, the low number of signal parameters bins means that the system might still assign the wrong type to the threat if the signal parameters are close enough. The system is also able to separate continuous wave signals from pulsed signals and to interpret co-located CW and pulsed emitters as a single emitter in semi-active radar homing guidance mode. It cannot, however, distinguish between different CW radar types, meaning this feature is susceptible to false alarm. Pilots thus need to be wary of the fact that the system will not always be able to accurately identify the threat type. To improve usability of the system, the threat program is generated automatically based on known threats present in the mission and is provided in the kneeboard for each flight. In reality, the threat program cartridge was issued to units based on the threats present in the combat theatre and was not designed to be field reprogrammable. The friendly emitters are not included in the program, but they might still be falsely identified as hostile for reasons described above. The system also has an ability to sort the signal into 2 bins by carrier frequency. However, in the MiG-29, this feature is permanently disabled as it requires each subband to be scanned separately, reducing probability of detection against radars in search mode. The MiG-29 lacks the full control panel, which would allow this function to be switched on and off. So somebody soldered a resistor across that switch, I'm thinking.
That's what that was. That's the equivalent of someone putting some tape over something and saying, "Do not use this." Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting to me because they're saying about that couldn't be programmable, but I could see maybe for to act as a form of this programmable stuff, they might even put this into the DTC thing. It's not technically a DTC, but do you know what I mean? They might put this functionality because there's already some bits in there to do with DTC CW stuff. So maybe they'll have a version for the MiG-29 where you can. Again, this is kind of cool. We talked about this, didn't we? About the
Yes.
CW stuff for the DTC. It'd be cool to simulate the fact that maybe your RWR doesn't know how to process certain, brand new threats. You could, because if you were say your mission you're creating is kind of LARPing 83 or something, or 84 or whatever, there might be a brand new form of SA-15. I don't know when the SA-15 went active, but maybe it just went brand new in 84, and that signal's intelligence isn't quite there. So you get a signal, but it says it thinks it's this instead because it doesn't know how to figure out what it is. Also, as we know from if you look at the Shrike, when you program the Shrike, you get that table, don't you? That tells you what carrier band that it's searching the Shrike. So certain systems are on certain ones, and some of them share, don't they? Weirdly enough, like an SA-13 would be the same sort of signal as an SA-6. I might not be wrong there, but you get my saying. Like very different systems may have a similar carrier band. So that's where it'd be quite cool whether you could almost deliberately, if you wanted to put a challenge for someone playing a mission, you could deliberately give them not quite the right up-to-date table of signals and stuff. I think it's just really cool.
I'm not clear if this system has identification for unknown, though. It kind of sounds like if it's unknown, it's just not displayed, which doesn't sound very handy.
Yeah.
Whereas, of course, the Western ones have an unknown icon.
Yeah, they have the little U. Yeah, it's like I said, I think that the fact that they're trying to do these earlier ones and they're trying to kind of like I said, go into this level of detail. I don't like to read the, what's the word, sit there like some sort of mystic trying to septic peg, so to speak. Yeah, was it septic peg?
Yes.
Mystic Meg or septic peg. If everyone remembers septic peg, it's brilliant. But yeah, you're trying not to read the tea leaves too much. But I doubt they would go into this level of detail if they weren't going to also start using some of this technology and other stuff. So yeah, not to no spoilers, but are we going to talk about the sniper pod?
That's actually the thing we're going to talk about right after the
news
video.
Yes, because there's some. We'll get into that in a minute, but there's some little things I noticed that people were saying, "Oh, that doesn't look too good," and it's actually that's actually more realistic because that's actually what targeting pods do. And so this thing here, this makes me think that they're going into a bit more fidelity for the RWRs, because I suspect, I'm not saying that I think this, but I suspect maybe there's certain things that are both underperforming and overperforming. And there might be a reason for that, because you don't want it to be too accurate, because you don't want people knocking on your door. But you maybe also want to have stuff, if you can, to be as accurate as possible. So that sometimes means things get nerfed as much as they get buffed. So I think we might see some of this stuff. If I'm going to read the tea leaves, I think this means that we're going to get other aircraft that maybe use similar RWRs,
which is a few.
That they may. Yeah, I mean, there's other MiGs and there's other Sukhois, and even we said that the version of this system was in the Hind. So yeah, it's kind of cool.
Definitely
really cool.
Very cool indeed. Finishing up this little bit, the target priority circuit is similarly modelled with its limitations. For instance, the system takes flight altitude into account for the priority algorithm, but it has to be entered manually. In the MiG-29 in particular, it is forced to a high setting without any way to adjust it, meaning that short-range air defence systems are always treated as low priority. The system will also prioritise radars in track mode over search mode, but again, track mode is recognised entirely by the length of the illumination event being above a certain threshold. So at high signal power, emitter side lobes might falsely trigger the track warning. For the priority threat, the system displays the signal power as well as the highest estimate of weapon range for the given type in terms of equivalent signal power and the elevation. The latter only being available at high signal power due to the much lower sensitivity of the elevation channels. Hey, actually, I remember this back from my flanker days, that you had the signal and then it also showed like a trigger level when it expected you would probably get fired on. So
Yeah.
it's quite, for what it is, it's actually rather advanced. It does do quite a lot, which is cool.
And it makes me wonder, they said here that there's certain things that they've turned off in the MiG-29.
Yeah.
And then also talking about this system where it's in the MiG-29, it's forced to a high setting.
Yeah.
Probably the reason why is if you consider the, the operational kind of, what's the word, ethos behind the MiG-29. It was basically, in a way, it was kind of replacing the MiG-21 as an interceptor. It was a short-range intercept, effectively a defensive aircraft.
Yes. Yeah. So
And the argument is you're going to be looking at, you'll probably get into it. Like, you're going to be looking more for enemy air threats and long-range threats rather than SHORADs. They're not expecting this jet to be dealing with SHORAD stuff.
it also doesn't really have the legs to go all that far into someone else's territory. So
No.
it's generally expected to be flown over Russian territory or Soviet territory.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice. Moving on, the last item we have in the newsletter is Cold War Germany. There's some updates coming. Ugra Media's upcoming update will focus on polish and immersion. Several navigational aids will have corrected identifiers like the Frankfurt Vortak and Northern and Waldorf airfields, broadcasting their proper call signs. City names such as, now let me see if I can do this, Weissenfels and Geissen have been corrected.
You did. That's right. What are they called again? The B. There's a name for that. Oh God.
Oh, I can't remember what the term for that character is.
SZ. I think it's called an SZ.
Okay.
Someone in German, tell me if I'm wrong.
Interesting side note: at one point in kind of German history, they deprecated the use of that character, and then more recently, I say more recently, I don't even know if it was like 20 or 30 years ago or what, they decided to bring it back. Like, no, we quite like having that character.
Yeah.
Because I think there was a time when they just replaced it with two S's.
Yeah, because it is actually slightly different than two S's, or it's like it's weird, isn't it? It's like when you put an umlaut on something, it kind of changes the way that you say it. So in fact, if you know how to read it, does actually, if I remember rightly, I haven't done German in bloody years, but I remember that was kind of what it was. But no, that's cool. Anyway,
nice.
Let's get back to the DCS.
Yes, the F10 map sports resized and repositioned prepared SAM sites, radar and hospital map icons for faster mission creation and planning. You will notice more realistic destruction effects for industrial plants and power stations, a new damage model for stadiums, and improved fields with hay bales and tractors. Typical village churches will have more accurate heights to improve visual low-level navigation. These refinements move the terrain one step closer to Phase 2, in which it will be expanded further. Please stay tuned for the next update to enjoy these updates. Yes, the update to enjoy the update.
I did think that was a bit clunky when I read that. Wait for the update, because we're going to get the update.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, no.
Remember to type your PIN number.
Yeah.
Now, that's what we had in the newsletter this week. But something way more important dropped. And it was this fantastic video from Matt Wagner all about the AN/AAQ-33 Advanced Targeting Pod. Now, we're apparently getting 2 videos on this particular targeting pod. This is the first of 2. And I found it very, very interesting. I hadn't really thought about it, and I've not flown the Viper that much. It didn't occur to me until Matt said, but the pod we currently have in the F-16 is not a real pod. And that had actually never occurred to me. I didn't realize that was the case. He says that it's basically a a combination of the Lantern and Lightning 2 pods, and it's not entirely faithful to either.
He said that apparently they're gonna keep it, because I think originally they were
He
like,
said
oh,
he was
when
going
we
to keep
get
it. Yeah.
yeah, originally when they said the sniper turns up, they were going to get rid of it. Then they said, oh, we might keep it for a bit, but I think they're just gonna keep it. Yeah, it's kind of like a lanterny, like you said, Lightning 2-y kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, it's a Lantern. Like, the functionality is quite close to a Lantern as far as I can tell, but you're getting the picture from a Lightning pod, because the picture from the Lantern was terrible.
Well, we should the Lightning that we've got in the Harrier should have a lot of these systems that we're going
multi-target
to be
track.
getting. Yeah, it should have
And
a lot of
picture in
these
picture.
things, and picture in picture, and you know, where whatever happens with that. But you know, that's one thing. It's a little bit, so even the Harrier's Lightning is kind of lanternish, you know, or at least early Lightning-ish.
Dear Matt, please adopt our
Yeah.
wonderful Harrier one day and give it
Please,
nice features.
if things don't work out, please take the Harrier, stick a APG-65 in the nose, please, and yes, please do those things, because
I will
that's a
happily
very
pay
beloved
for it
jet.
again if that's what it takes.
Yeah, like I do. The Harrier is. We are both very biased here, but the Harrier for me is such. It's not the jet I thought I would like. I was like, yeah. When I first, I always thought the Harrier was cool, but when it came to like flying it, I was like, you know, it can do some detail stuff, and it quickly became like my favorite ground pounder by far. It's such a good jet, and we've not even really got the fully, like, you know, the Gucci version, have we? We've got
No.
you know, that there. And like Charts just said, the RAF one had the sniper. Actually, the GR9, either the GR7A and the GR9, they had things like, they had the HMD, didn't they? They had a HMD in it. They had like a bunch of other stuff. They had a recce pod as well. They had the additional, as we know, the outrigger pylons so you could stick some extra sidewinders on.
Yeah.
Yeah, we never got the fully Gucci'd up Harrier, so I would love a Gucci Harrier.
Gucci Harrier.
Gucci
I also
Harrier,
still
please.
fly it, Tech Gaming 45. It is a fantastic aircraft.
Oh, it's so good. Yeah.
Back to the video though. Our man Wagner here is showing us how to power the pod on and what it looks like while it's booting up. TKL Barbecue. Deepak doesn't even fly the Harrier anymore. He's a poser, a pretender.
Pretender.
Yes, I haven't flown it with the VAF for quite some time, but I do intend to return. But yes, here you see Wags is demonstrating the basics of operating this pod, and yeah, you were saying that, you know, there's some things about this pod that look a little bit more realistic than what we've had in the past. Like, I was quite enjoying the way that it kind of transitions cameras, and also transitioning to the long range modes. It kind of like jumps and then goes out of focus and then flips back into focus, and I think it looks really good. And I'm wondering, I don't know very much about the sniper, but I'm wondering if does it have to rotate the head around to actually get the other camera on the target? Is that what it's doing? Because I think it has, it's kind of triangular shaped at the front, and I think it has like at least one or two apertures on one side and like one other aperture on the other side. And I think for certain modes, you have that delay because it has to kind of go whoop and then point the other camera. But I might be making all of this up. This is just my impression.
Yeah, well, the thing is it's those little touches that just, it's so hard to explain, but they all add up to make things just so much more, like, what's the word for it? Immersive. And it's small. It's the kind of thing that they don't have to do, but it really is something that makes you go like, yeah, like, and if that's what it actually does in real life, I want it to do that. That's what I want it to do.
Same.
Like, there's something I love. I've definitely noticed it in the F-14. I don't know if I've noticed it in the F-15, but the lantern, when it's in infrared, what I love, because I've seen this in like the real footage you see. Do you know when you see a target get hit and it just wipes the screen out, and then you see it kind of shrink again? That kind of where it's kind of over, what's the word? It's kind of oversaturated the infrared camera.
It's basically bloom, but because of the way because of the way the sensor works in a kind of line based way, you get bloom along the lines, along the scan lines.
Yeah.
So it's very, very. It always makes me think of the first Gulf War and watching tornado
Yeah.
footage. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's very, very accurately represented by Heatblur's
Mm.
F-14.
Yeah, and I think the F-15 does. I can't remember, but I mean, like the Lantern, the F-15, people were complaining because it's kind of naff. It's like, yeah, but for the time, that was incredible. It could do things
Yeah.
like the fact it could slow around. It's not until you go to the pave spike, is it in the Phantom, you really go, oh wow, like, oh yeah, no. When you look at it that way, the Lantern's actually badass what it can do.
Yeah.
So yeah, I love these little things that it can do. One of the things I really like about this is it gives you right there at the top left your target what's the word? Your target azimuth, your
Coordinates and
northings.
elevation, you mean?
Yeah, an elevation. And
Yeah.
apparently it will say in the video, he says that there's the target on target. That's really, really cool. Not target, picture
A
on
picture
picture.
in
Sorry.
picture. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And then the other thing he said is apparently it will pop up. I think it will get an L or a D, or I can't remember what it is, if it feels like it's degraded or low probability. Hence, like your INS is degraded a bit. You haven't done an INS fix for a while. It's not 100% sure. It thinks there's some error.
Hmm.
It will kind of warn you. It was, I don't think it's maybe quite right. So yeah, that's really cool. I
Yes.
actually, before we carry on, I asked, he didn't reply, sadly, Wags. But I asked in there, one of the cool things that I know I've heard, I say no, I've heard these pods can do is you can use L2 mum, so you can
Hmm.
send level 2, you can basically send and receive video through these pods. They've got their own system. And then the other thing is, as a certain plucky little scout helicopter
Mm-hmm.
can talk to that or on that protocol. So wink, wink,
Nudge,
Wags,
nudge,
if you're
wink,
watching
wink.
this, let us know if that is the case.
We
I,
have a
I,
lot.
I
We have a lot of questions for Wags today. We're asking you, will you adopt the Harrier?
will you adopt the
And
Harrier? Yeah,
can we have L2 mums
yeah.
for these pods talking to Kaiwa?
Yeah, can we adopt? Can you also adopt Frantic as well? He needs a home. He
Yes.
needs a home. He
He's not
sadly,
house trained, but
yeah,
he's very loving and
just £5 a month. Five
yes.
pound a month, and we can adopt a Frantic, and maybe then his suffering will end. But
For some reason, who's the oh, Bono? Yeah, for some reason
Bono.
I'm thinking of Bono clicking his fingers, and I remember it was Frankie Boyle was talking about this one time. He's like, every time I click my fingers, a child in Africa dies. He's like, stop doing it then.
Oh, good old yeah, back in the
Anyway,
day.
yes.
Yeah,
So sorry,
yeah,
back on topic.
yeah,
Apologies for that derailment.
yeah.
We did see it a moment ago where it switched to the long range mode, and you did see like there was like a jitter, and then it switched, and I don't know what that
Mm,
is, but I kind of feel like the head of the pod is doing some articulation there, and
mm,
that's why you get that slight delay and the slight kind of jump in the
yeah.
picture.
Yeah. Even if it's as simple as just the lenses have to kind of like, lock in because it's long distances, crazy long distances, this
Hmm.
stuff. The other thing I quite like here, again, not everyone's gonna like this. You can't laze from miles
8
away. So
miles.
I think it's 8 miles. So you can, if you try to laze before then, he said something along the lines, it will tell you what it thinks the distance is if you use like a
Yeah, it's
what do
going
you
to use
call
the
it, a
terrain
rangefinder.
database, and it's going to do some geometry,
Yeah.
basically. I think.
Yeah.
And actually, the cool thing was we saw this limitation first, as I recall, in the JF-17.
Mm,
They implemented a realistic lasing range, and people were kind of upset
yeah.
because they
Mm.
were like, "Oh, the laser doesn't work," and it's like it works like the real one does.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Well, the other thing as well, is I have to say it. I don't like to say it, but I have to say it. In certain ways, the targeting pod, for instance, in the Harrier, is kind of overpowered. You can
Yeah.
laze targets from literally miles away, and you can so much so you can zoom in and look at a target, and the what is it? The terrain does that thing where it slowly grows. So you
Yes.
see the tanks first, and then you'll see like a building grow in front of it, where
Yeah.
the level of details are kind of kicking in and stuff. So yeah, I like the idea that if you can't necessarily limit that, you can limit how far the pod can look just in its own ability
Mm.
to focus on things and the picture and stuff.
Yes.
I really like that. On a side note, the Gunner Heat PC just had a big update to its flare, and that now looks awesomely like it kind of looks crap, but that's cool because it's like 80s flair. It doesn't look great. One of the things I love that they added, every time you fire the gun, the main gun, the whole thing judders, and then it kind of makes the screen kind of statically a bit. You see the actual picture go a
Yeah.
bit weird because it jolts the whole system. And I was like, that's really cool. I love it.
They've also, again, we're off topic here, but they've also implemented that for the vehicles that do the kind of barrel reset to load, they do it. And the autoloader vehicles now realistically don't reload until you tell them to. Because it's like, it was Soviet doctrine that after you fired the round, it would leave the barrel empty until you chose what you wanted loaded. Whereas the Western doctrine is slam a shell in there quick as you can.
Anything. Yeah, absolutely. Well, that makes sense if you look at the Western doctrine, because originally it was like, we're probably going to get tank rushed. We just need to hit targets as quick as we can. It doesn't matter, because there's going to be 17 of them and 3 of us, Yeah.
Whereas also the Soviets had, like multiple ammo types, and they always wanted to be using the right one for the particular engagement. Anyway, so everybody should go and check out this YouTube video on Matt Wagner's channel. It goes into quite a lot of detail about kind of the basics of using it. It doesn't cover the laser spot track, and it doesn't cover the multi-target modes yet, but he is apparently releasing a video soon on that one. And you'll see in the title here, he notes, this pod is coming soon. So I don't know if this is the next update or the one after or what, but we're going to have this in game quite soon. Oh, there's the LQ. Top left right now, you've got LQ.
Yeah, there you go.
So it's, that's it, indicating that it's not entirely happy with the position information.
That's really cool. So there's a couple of things he's put in his video as well, and I think it might be worth just mentioning them because it kind of clears up some stuff for people. Yeah. So he said that, I'm just looking at some of the notes here. So he said after he completes a couple more videos for the Viper and the F-18, he's going to be returning to more general DCS updates. So that's really cool. So I the way I read that is that the Viper and the F-18 are getting love.
You're welcome on the show anytime, Wags.
Yeah, absolutely. If you watch this, dude, if you want to come and talk to us, we'll happily. He probably won't want to put up with our crap jokes, but you're more than welcome.
Well, to be fair, he has more subscribers than I do, but nonetheless, so he would find a bigger audience just posting on his own channel, but still.
Yeah, exactly. He'll probably just spend most of the time correcting us. Yes. But that's not true. That's not true. Yeah. That's not true.
Guys, please stop. Please, Pink Floyd, thank you very much. I just got the notification for that, so thank you very much indeed. Another very, very generous donation. Thank you very much.
Oh, amazing. That's wicked. What were we talking about? Oh yeah, the targeting pod. Oh, there you go. The target pod has a much more common name, but it's trademarked, so they can't. We'll call it the sniper pod, but they can't call it the sniper pod. It's a bit like, I think, Link 16. They can't call it Link 16 now, can they? They have to call it Tactical Net Data Link.
Well, no, this was the thing with the Apache. The Apache's data link, they use a made-up name for it. But the real one is called something else. I think
Longbow Net, isn't it?
I can't
Longbow
remember.
Net, I think it's called. Yeah,
I think Link 16 is fine. It was the Apache data link was the one they had to kind of obfuscate a little bit.
Yeah. What is it? He said there's some notes just about how it works. There's some issues with the mids and stuff in the video. That was it. The other thing he said is that the sniper won't be coming to the F-18 or the A-10, even though versions of them carried it. It's just not accurate for the versions that they've simulated. So a lot of people were like, "We can get this for the A-10. We're not getting it for the A-10." And are we getting it for the F-18? I think there's newer versions, maybe Super Hornets that carry these now, but not. The Hornet won't get the sniper. What he did say in the comments was there's a really cool system on this pod. Depending on the munition that you've picked, do you know how you get the yard on the F-18, the Harrier, you get the yardstick, which is north located, and it swivels based upon the azimuth. Have you seen that before? It's kind of like a located yardstick kind of thing. Have you seen that?
I'm not sure what you're talking about. And the thing is, I know everything about the Harrier, so I'm obviously just not recognizing what you're talking about.
When you're looking through the T-pod, as you zoom in and out, it gives you like almost like a ground stabilized yardstick around the what do you call it? Cursor, whatever you want to call it. The crosshair.
Are you talking about the 3-dimensional yardstick?
Yes.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about. Yes, that's a really nice feature in the Harrier.
Yeah. So this thing will get a system where, depending on the munition that you're using, it will give you a blast radius circle.
Yes.
So as you're looking through, which that's really cool. So as you look at a target, if you think you've got friendlies and you're say using a 500-kilogram bomb or 500-pound bomb, sorry, it will give you a circle. And if you switch to say 1,000-pound, that circle will boop, it will go bigger. And
Yeah.
so literally, like that 3D yardstick, you'll get a 3D like blast circle, blast radius circle. And
Yeah,
I was
the
like,
Harrier has this system, but in the Harrier it's manually done. So
you can manually do it, yeah.
you can manually set it. So like, for certain munitions, I was like manually plugging in figures and then getting a kind of nice, 3D yardstick, which was kind of handy. Mark 9 Hawk, how about getting it for the F-15E? Oh, my sweet summer child.
We technically should.
Yes,
because that is
it's on the roadmap. It was on the roadmap.
It was.
But yeah.
The rumor mill, right? The rumor mill.
Are we repeating rumors, young man?
So we need that little ticker at the bottom. This is very, very it does not represent. The rumor mill was that Razbam had actually completed the sniper before the lantern, but then decided, because there was shots with it with the sniper like really early on. And the rumor is that they then, whether they were told to or they decided, because they were going to do that. Remember, they were doing the chronological tech update,
which was such a cool idea.
I love that. Yeah. That they were then going to go all the way back and then start with the lantern and then work up to it, and maybe that would give them time to kind of, what's the word, finalize it or whatever. But
okay,
yeah, that was the rumor. Yes.
Tony Soprano, welcome. Artal 5, welcome.
There's people arguing about F-111s and tornadoes.
Yes, yeah, and also people talking about Frantic being a dog. And also some people asking about when is the tornado.
Tornado. That would be a rad jet. I hope, because they're doing this IDS, aren't they? And they said they're going to give us some British liveries, and they said maybe we might get some British weapons.
He said it again, chat.
I know, tornado.
Liveries.
Oh, livery. Like I don't know what word it is anymore. I don't know what it is. I hope maybe down the line, a bit like, do you know how with we've got like the F1CE, F1EE, Mirage, and all that kind of stuff. I hope they would maybe do a pretty close GR1, or is it the GR1A that got the PAVE spike? Was it the PAVE spike it got? It was, wasn't it? Yeah.
I don't remember. Possibly.
It was one of the, it did get like an early targeting pod. It wasn't the lantern, but it got like the version right at the end of the first Gulf War, I think, because it was originally the Buccaneers were doing the lasing for them.
Yes.
And eventually they just near the end, a couple of them got them kind of slapped underneath.
Weren't there at least one or two Jaguars with pods as well?
Yes, yeah, they were doing buddy lasing stuff. So so that would be cool. Not only if we got some of the British laser guided bombs, but if we got a couple, couple other cool systems for the GR1 or GR1A, that'd be really cool.
Yes, absolutely. Mark 9 Hawk, again, if F-15E had data link and sniper, would be all I'd want. Don't mind about no HMD, etc. I'm right with you. The Strike Eagle, even what we have right now, although you can't buy it anymore, even what we have right now in the level it is right now is absolutely fantastic. And if it's possible at some point in the future for it to be continued to be developed, that would be fantastic. But I would have to imagine any development on that is years away, because the legal wranglings haven't even been resolved yet between Razbam and ED, and if what I suspect is going to happen is the ED are going to have to take it over. If they have to take it over, that's going to be, I don't know, will I even still be alive?
Yeah. So I've said this before. I think there's a couple of different possible outcomes. But one of the reasons I think that they decided to do the F-15C, there's multiple ones. I think, in fact, Falcon BMS got one. They probably just wanted to do one anyway. But I also think I wouldn't be surprised if there's a level of, like we've talked about this before, tooling up to an E. If it goes wrong, they're like, we might as well do a C, so that we can take some of this technology and this development time and put it into an E. And by the time we're down that line, if it does fall through, we can kind of divert and do what we need to do. So
it's the same kind of logic that you were applying to the SPO-15 as well. And I think it makes sense. Like, if Eagle Dynamics is the kind of core developer of the sim, they're
Yeah.
going to want to get the maximum bang for their buck when it comes to
Mm.
anything they develop. And I have to say, I think they've been quite effective at this. I think
Yeah.
they have made a number of smart choices here.
Mm.
So yes, I think that's quite possible. But then,
Yeah.
considering when are we expecting to see the F-15C? I think they were saying by the end of the year we're expecting to have an early access F-15C. How long would it take them to then finish it? At least another 2 or 3 years, in my estimation. When would they
Yeah.
then be able to deliver the F-15E? Maybe another 3 or 4 years. We're
Mm.
almost looking at a decade away, quite
The
possibly.
like, to me, this is top level best case scenario with all of that stuff is that they come to an agreement. Razbam finishes the Strike Eagle. Everyone gets paid. Everyone gets their money. Everyone's happy
That would
as
be
far
cool.
as they've got what they've got. And
That's
then
going to be
what
the
Razbam does,
fastest resolution. Yeah. Like if
yes,
ED have to take it over, honestly, it's maybe like a decade away.
yeah.
If we can get Razbam back on the case, that's going to be
Mm.
much faster.
Yeah, and the thing is that that means everyone's happy. Even if like Razbam just say, right, we'll finish the F-15, we'll and then we're just going to maintain all of our products. That's all we'll do, just bug fix and get it finished, get all our products finished and bug fix them, and we don't make any more, but we just look after what we've got, and that's the best case scenario. The second best is that at the very least it would be nice to think that they come to some agreement where the code is handed over
Mm.
and ED finish it off. That would
In
mean not quite as long.
Razbam's public statements, they've said that they've never done that and they will never do that. Handing over source
Yeah,
code, that is.
yeah, and that's why that's like, even though that's the second best scenario, it's probably the least likely to happen in many ways.
Mm.
I think probably the most likely is, like I said, not because this is why I've decided this won't be it. I think ED will probably remake it and they'll use the F-15C tooling to do it. It's too important a jet, I think, the F-15E,
Yeah.
kind of the crown jewel of the USAF kind of what do you call it, roster. It just does a lot. It's a multi, what's the word? I know it's a strike jet, but it's multi role, and I know the F-16 is, but they would have got that now. So yeah,
Of course, if they're going to make the C and then later they make the E, when are they going to give us the X? He says.
the EX, yeah,
The
yeah,
EX,
that would be
sorry, yeah.
bullet. Yeah, that would be amazing.
That would be
I
amazing.
look, people were saying stuff in the chat. Tog, I completely agree with you. I think an F-111 would be killer. The first people I'd pick for that would be Heatblur. I think Heatblur would do an F-111 incredibly,
Or
but their
Urges.
hands are mega. Urges would do a great job as well. I think ED would do a great job with
Oh,
an
yes.
F-111.
Yeah.
I think a MiG-23 is well, obviously Razbam were working on one before they stopped. It's screaming to be made because that fills a really cool gap. That's sort of, depending on what version you do of the MiG-23 as well, you can kind of make it slightly multi-role.
Mm.
And that's just a cool. That's like to me, people talk about the MiG-25. I think the MiG-23 is the quintessential like Soviet like fighter for me. That's in my eyes at least. Everyone's gonna have a different opinion, but that, like, at least early before we get to the Su-27s and the MiG-29s and stuff, that's that quintessential thing. Dude, I think
Frantic wants a
yeah.
Diamond DA-42.
Yeah. There's an argument you could make for a Cessna 172. Believe it or not, you could do like a what do you call it, an AFAC kind of role or something.
Well, that was
That could
never
be
the
cool.
172 though. It was a
Was it?
Cessna and it was
Yeah,
almost a 172, but it was a modification.
yeah,
But I forget what they called it now. It had its own name. It was a different product.
yeah. Yeah,
Oh yeah,
Su-1722.
yes,
Yeah, there's a
yeah.
great mod of that, wasn't there?
Strongly agree. Those are very interesting aircraft, especially because we have quite modernized versions of these. Like, is it not the Su-22? Like one of the M's, one of the modernized ones that the Russians were still using in the Syrian war.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah, no.
interesting, very interesting.
There's so many stuff. Yeah, I think an
Bird
F-111 Bird
Bird
Dog.
Dog,
That's the
thank you.
one.
That's what I was thinking of. I couldn't remember its name. Cessna Bird Dog.
Yeah.
So it wasn't
Yeah.
really a 172, although of course it was based on that airframe.
And the cool thing about the Aardvark, you could do it a bit like this CTU stuff that Razbam were doing. You could do the Aardvark, which was effectively the one that was at the very end of Vietnam, like an
Yes.
A model or whatever, or even a C model. Because if you do a C model, you can do something from the 70s, and then you can do a version which has the additional MFDs and and avionics updates and weapon updates, you can do almost like that CTU system where you can kind of have an early F111C and then like a late F111C. And actually, the late F111C was an extremely advanced aircraft at the time, really, really advanced. With what it could do, it was just it literally was replaced by the Strike Eagle because Strike Eagle could do it and a bit more,
Yeah.
but it was still very good at its job.
So,
Yeah.
John, I'm going to ask you a question, and I'm also going to extend it to chat.
Yeah.
What is the next update, aircraft, or feature that you're desperately waiting for?
Ooh, crikey!
I have mine. I've already chosen mine, and I want to see.
That have been confirmed that are being made.
Yes, yeah, yes. Okay. Things that are expected to drop in the next, like, let's say 1 to 2 years. Like
1 to 2. If we're talking 1 to 2 years,
the sooner the better, I would say.
Yeah, I would say Typhoon. Probably for jet for full module. I think Typhoon would be baller.
Yeah.
Feature. I just want to see the Apache completed with the RFI and all the last systems and stuff. I want that thing out of early access. It's a great aircraft. Arguably, there's also like it means that that team ends up working on something else. Cough, cough, cough. AH1W, and it means we put more time on that. So that's that, and then dynamic campaign. That is actually probably the top of my list. Dynamic campaign.
Yeah.
For both multiplayer and single player. That is top list. I just want that desperately.
I can't quite decide. I've got two, but I would really like to see the Mirage F1M.
Yes, that would be rad.
But I would also really like to see the F-14BU. So
how did I forget that? Yeah. That would be as well.
Those are the two that I'm really, really desperate to see. And then when it comes to a feature, I'd really like to see the new ATC.
Yeah.
But I don't. It's not been talked about super much. It's been mentioned a couple of times. I'm not trying to say there've been no updates. There have. We've not really heard super much about it. Although Wags did talk about it in one of his Q&A sessions not that long ago. I understand it's become a bit of a kind of complex issue for them to deal with. But if they're able to deliver that at some point, it'd be amazing.
He replied to someone. Someone asked him about in the comments. Someone asked him about the ATC. Let me have a look, and I'll quote him because I don't want to misquote him.
Yes.
But I'll just look through the comments. But yeah, someone asked him about the ATC, and he replied in that thing.
Ozdead Meat wants a UH-60, an official one. Beef Supreme wants an update to the NTTR. Artau 5 wants an intruder and a prowler. Nobody's promised us a prowler.
A prowler would be rad.
But agree that those are very cool planes. We've got a few people asking for the Eurofighter. What else we got? Sky Raider. We haven't heard much about the Sky Raider in a while. And that is an interesting aircraft.
Yeah, Sky Raider is really cool. There's some people I think the Sky Raider would be their favorite. I think it's because it's that kind of like you're just getting into the modern age, but it's still almost not quite a warbird, but like a late warbird. I think, which is really cool.
Rather. Indy Navy fix the supercarrier. What's wrong with the supercarrier? I'm not aware, although I haven't used it that much.
It needs to be finished. I mean, that thing's been in development for God knows how long. We were supposed to get the briefing room
and so on. Yeah,
they were supposed to be doing the underneath as well, weren't they? If I remember rightly, the what do you call it? The hangar. Yeah. I'm trying to find this because I don't want to misquote Wags, but there was somewhere where he said the tricky thing that they've got is they're having to there was a funny comment actually. Someone said, "Oh, any news on the liveries for the F-16?" And he went, "Give him the strong negative feedback. We've decided to hold off on that." Which is him going, "Oof, yeah, we're not touching that one." We tried doing that, and it went a bit tits up.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. Anyway, I can't find it right now, but he said something along the lines of, "We're just having to figure out." It was something to do with how they can make it future proofed. So I
Yes.
think it's like if you get the tricky thing is if you use AI, it can sound a bit cack. It
Hmm.
can. I can still tell AI now because it will use like a weird inflection. It'd be like, yes, make sure you go up at the end, and you'll be like, hang on, wait, well that's really weird. It will do
Yeah.
something odd. But then also, if you get a voice actor, say that voice actor now won't work with you anymore, or passes
Mm.
away, or is busy, or moves on, or whatever. You then have to figure out, okay, well, how do we then make more lines? So
Well,
you
and
have
we
to
already
figure
have
out.
this situation because when you interact with the ground crew currently, it's 3 different voices.
Yeah,
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 because
yeah.
there was the original voice who I don't know. There was a YouTuber who stepped in and did some of them, and I actually can't
Mm.
remember who that was. And there's even at
Mm.
least one of the lines is Wags. So,
Yeah, 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 yeah. I think it's the JTAC is a lot of the lines are wags, aren't they? If you listen to the JTAC and you get the 9 line from the
yeah.
JTAC, a lot of is wags. But yeah, oh, here you go, found it. Hi, thanks, Wags. Someone asked, are we going to get any hints on the ATC? He replied with, ATC is coming along with most of the work revolving around how we handle voice over support to make
Hmm.
sure the new system is sustainable. So that makes a lot of sense. So there you go.
Well, if
Yeah.
anyone needs extra voices, I've done voice acting in the past for campaigns and missions in DCS and other things. So
Oh, yeah,
feel free
absolutely.
to
Yeah.
send me a message.
Definitely hire him. Yeah, he's got a great voice. Very calming.
I've even done accents. I did one where I was an English RAF tornado pilot, and I I did like a full RAF Bantz style
Yeah.
accent, and it was pretty funny.
Yeah. That's cool.
And
I
yeah,
yeah.
I don't
Sorry.
even remember which campaign that ended up in, but I did that for somebody, and it's out there somewhere.
I love that
Tally
you're like,
ho, chaps! Rah,
I've
rah.
done some voice. It's somewhere.
It's somewhere. I don't even know. Like I know that I'm in at least 3 or 4 DCS campaigns out
Mm,
there. Some of them
yeah.
free, some of them actually paid for.
Mm,
And then I've done stuff for X-Plane and all kinds of other stuff. Like there was a at one stage there was an Airbus that had me as first officer.
yeah.
Go find that if you
Yeah.
if you can.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
One thing I was going to reply to here is Arteo. He said, Century Series pack a la Flaming Cliffs would sell well.
Hmm.
I, I, I personally, maybe I'm in a minority here, but especially
Hmm.
when there is an argument that the Flaming Cliffs packs cost almost as much development time, but are not as nearly as detailed. And a
Yeah.
lot of there are some people who react very negatively to them. I would say, I mean, I think a Century series anyway would slap. I think that'd be
Yeah.
great,
Yeah.
because they're really interesting jets. And whether the Delta Dagger, I mean, I'd love a Thunder Chief. Thunder Chief would be like awesome. We obviously are getting the what do you call it? The Starfighter. We're getting that, or the Widowmaker as they called it.
Hmm.
If you know about the way that thing landed, good luck. And then obviously we've got the Super Saber. But yeah, I would I'd love to see more of that. But yeah, I think the one aircraft I've argued for a Flaming Cliffs level, and I would say have it free with DCS. So like the Su-25 we get for free with DCS. I've
Uh-huh.
been saying it for ages. F-16A,
Yes. Yes.
F-16A. At most, maybe it's got Mavericks, Sidewinders, no Fox 3s or Fox 2s or Fox 1s. It's basically that like Block 15 era where, do you know the one that's got the little, like, I call it the pocket calculator screen on the left? There's
Yes.
the
Yeah.
actual radar screen is, yeah.
Yeah, it's more of like it's an armament control panel, but it's a kind of semi-digital one.
Yeah, it's like a calculator, basically
Yeah,
LCD, isn't it? And then there's the radar is actually the radar screen's between your legs.
yeah.
It's where
It's
the
where the
HSI is,
HSI
isn't
is
it?
on the
Yeah, yeah,
modern
yeah.
ones. Yeah.
Bro, do that, right? And have that as the 3 jet. And the reason why I said that is it makes sense in multiple ways. First of all, F-16 instantly cool, right?
Yeah.
You got to
Yeah.
remember a lot of people who are getting into something like DCS, right? All the toggle switches for alignment and blah 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 blah. They're like, what's an alignment, what the hell is this? They just want to be able to jump into a jet and start doing stuff.
Yeah.
And yeah, they've got bindings, maybe they've got like a thrustmaster, they've got a SciTech, but they've bought some stuff, they want to start doing things. That helps with that. Second of all, I think an F-16A for Flaming Cliffs level free with the game it's much more. Everyone knows what that is. Like, it's got brand recognition, isn't it? An F-16A.
Oh,
Like
very
like
much
the
so.
average Joe who buys DCS and gets it is going to be like, oh, I know that jet. Not all of them know what a frogfoot is, right? And then you got the training P-51, but whatever. So I think that would be really cool. And then it doesn't also eat into the F-16C.
No.
That's the big thing. People said, why don't you do a full fidelity F-16A? Well, the problem is that's now competing with the C, right? And it doesn't really fit into like a business sense thing, because you don't want it. The last thing you want to do is create a product which then competes with your own product. That's madness. But what you can sort of say is, you can say to people, oh, you love the A, cool, you've got the SC3 version, you've bought the game, you've learnt it. Now you're ready to go onto the C, which has way more systems. It's got the sniper pod, it's got all these kinds of stuff. It's a bit like the A10A to the A10C. The A10A is really cool, right? It's a great jet. And I actually sometimes it's fun to jump in it because it's so straightforward and it kind of represents that 80s, 90s. But then if you love it, you're going to go to the C2 and be like, oh my God, this does a gazillion more things. So that's always been my argument. If there was any argument for another Flaming Cliffs level jet, F-16A, that comes with the game, and I will bang that drum forever. I think that would be sick.
Mark
I would argue
Hawk mentioning the fact that Heatblur are developing an F-16A with India Foxed Echo for MSFS.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe could you port that stuff? And Tog, a specific block of the F-16A did carry the AIM-7, but it was I think it was a block 15, block 20. Most of them didn't. It was actually quite a rare and short period of time, because I think they were like, it's pointless us sorting all this out when the AMRAAM's around the corner. So I don't think they did. But yeah, I think for a free jet, I would do it. I would argue. I know we've got some really cool mods. Like, we've got that new Cobra coming. We've got the Little Bird. We've got the Black Hawk mod, which is due an update soon. Whenever that happens, that looks cool. Shout out to those guys. But that would be cool. But I make an argument for a free helicopter as well, maybe, that comes with the game. Again, just gets people a little bit salivating, for stuff, and
Maybe
have something that doesn't. Little Bird or something, with just maybe some guns on it or something,
Yeah.
So yeah, because it's easy for us. We're all like nerds, right? Everyone in this chat, all of us guys here, we're all big nerds. We either don't have girlfriends or wives, or if they do, they look at us with suspicion when we talk about hands on throttle and stick. They think we're weird. They go and play your game with your boyfriends, and I'm going to go downstairs and watch my shows.
Wearing your VR goggles and looking odd.
Yeah, they're like, all right, I don't know why I married him, but he pays the bills, so whatever. Let him play his F-16 game. So,
yes.
but you've always got to think about the people who are just getting into this stuff, who don't know the same things as we do. They might love aircraft and they might love this stuff, but they don't know what the INS alignment is. Like, what's that? What's setting up frat tables in a RWR? They don't know what that is. So you got to give someone something to get into it. And I just think having something cool initially is a really cool way of getting those people in. And look, if they're the kind of people, some people said, yeah, I don't want to turn it into War Thunder. It's like, it's not good, because those people who never were going to get involved in it anyway, they'll go off and play other games. They won't get interested. But like, you might just catch, like War Thunder, but you might just catch a couple of those people. You know what I mean? You might just, it's like, nobody starts listening to death. Maybe some people do. Nobody starts listening to death metal overnight. Like, you start off with like Metallica and Megadeth and Pantera. You work your way up to that. You never just go, yeah, I'm gonna listen to this crazy stuff. You ease your way in. So yeah. Anyway, us being nerds about stuff.
The best way.
The best way.
Yes, indeed. Yeah. That's cool. I wanted to start that discussion and basically ask both you and chat, what are you really, really waiting for?
There's some great stuff in chat here. Some great stuff.
Yes. Yeah, a lot of interesting points being made here. So thank you very much for that. Excellent. Well, that's basically all the news that we have for this week. But I will take a moment, as I often do, to pimp the VAF. John will disappear for just a moment while I do so. Terribly sorry. So, yes, the VAF, or the Virtual Air Force, is a virtual online squadron originally started by myself and Dot Chuckles many, many moons ago. We fly on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays, usually around about 8 p.m. UK time. We're always recruiting for new pilots. We currently fly the Harrier, the F-16, and the F-18. But we're also always looking for people to do ATC, mission making, livery making, scripting, and whatever else. You'll see that there's a Discord link in the show notes below. Everybody's welcome, whether you fly with us or not. It's a great group of people, even if you just want to kind of hang out and talk about aviation, because, we're all very, very interested in that. So go ahead and check out the VAF, the Virtual Air Force. Hey, and we'll bring John back. So, what else we got in chat here? John Bloor.
Just replying to Angelo talking about decapitated. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
This is Fierce Madness. I'll get out of my car.
Right. Very nice. Very nice.
Yeah.
So, yes, he's been John Bloor. You can watch his streams on twitch.tv/John Bloor. Go there and click the appropriate button. And John, I wonder if you can tell us a little bit about what's going on with you these days.
Not a lot at the moment, but there's a lot of stuff going on in my... It sounds really bad. Whenever I say this, it sounds really dramatic. There's a lot of stuff going on with my personal life. Basically, I don't mind saying I've decided to go freelance as a graphic designer. That's what I do in my job. So I'm getting all of that going. So my hands are very full at the moment. And I frankly probably don't have a lot of time to stream at the moment anyway. But I have some cool projects coming up, and one of them is something that I intend to stream. I've given lots of mysterious comments about it before, but it will be an illustration project, and it is not a gazillion miles away from what we're talking about today. So hopefully, because I have to be careful not to break any NDAs, but hopefully when the time comes, I can actually stream it and people can see. So when that day does come, you'll know about it because I'll be banging a bell about it, and I'll be doing that. So at the moment, not a lot of streaming. And then with DCS, I've talked about this before. I wouldn't call it a burnout. It's more I just need a slight break from it. It's nothing that DCS has done wrong. It like the old friends thing. We're on a break at the moment. That's all it is, and I'll get back into DCS again as well.
Yes, indeed.
So I wouldn't be talking about it now if I didn't like it.
Yeah, excellent. So yeah, please, if you haven't already, subscribe, like, and comment. If you haven't, if you want to further support the channel, you have the option of joining Deepak's ground crew by clicking the join button below for a small monthly fee, about the same as a cup of coffee per month. I really appreciate those of you who've already done so. I'll do my big shout out for Deepak's ground crew just now, but if you join Deepak's ground crew, you get to join a private Discord server where we all hang out. I'm getting back on to doing the flights with Deepak's ground crew. The next one is going to be happening on the 20th of July, I think, which is a Sunday. And yes, I just very much appreciate those of you who help out with that. So big shout out to Channel Right, JR Walker, Mr. Yeti, Sean IM81, John Bloor, Tea Kettle Barbecue, Whiskey Dale, Stuart McLean, Mangash, Willow Wilson, Byron Farrow, Osprey, Snoop Laren, Laskin75, Interesting Story, Frantic Stone, Tim Wasco, Oz Dead Meat, Sledge Collar, Tarka Chops, Attack Debris, JP Gibbons, Frederick Laystrom, Kevy Kev TPA, Paul Dillon, She's the Slayer, 09, Pink Floyd, Samantha, and Alice. Thank you all very, very much for your support. And yes, please consider clicking that join button below if you can spare a little change. I feel kind of like a busker at a train station, but anyway. So anyway, I've been Deepak. Every Saturday I post a new tutorial video, currently doing a series all about the A10. Next week I'll be covering the TAD. And that's always followed by the DCS news, which just happens to be this thing, what you're watching right now. Thank you all very much for watching. Fly safe, and I'll see you next time. Ta-ta.